Cottage Yuri here. We got the 2025 Ford Expedition Platinum Max. And this is a cottage road trip video. I used it for my family that has 2 kids, a 7-month-old, a 4-year-old, a dog, and my wife. Thought I was gonna need a minivan. But Ford had the Expedition. We haven't driven this since we did the walk around, so I figured I'd give it a try. This thing is all new for 2025. It's a 3-row, a huge 3-row. I thought I was going to put someone in the very back, dog in the front, and the 2 kids in the middle. Turns out, this truck is so huge, you can put all 3 people in the middle row and the dog at the front. And now I could have my wife in the middle, the kids on either side, and everything was controllable. Very controllable, and by everything I mean the kids' tempers. All right, so here is the setup at the back, which is the most important thing with kids. We got the 7-month-old seat there, the 4-year-old's Britax front-facing seat here, and we can sneak in and see that there is plenty of room for an adult to sit. Like, I got room for my shoulders, I can help this kid out, and we found out that we try to link in with a middle console area. We had my wife in the very back in the Navigator, and then it was too far for the baby to keep the baby entertained properly. So that didn't work. It needs to be same row, which makes me think that maybe a minivan for my family isn't the right call. Maybe I just need to get a gigantic SUV that all 3 of us can fit in the same row. With the car running, before I get into too much more stuff that I like and dislike about it, let's go over the looks, because this is a brand new model. The looks were the big new thing. We've got the headlights that kind of come around like this. It's all blacked out at the front, and then this is the Platinum, so it's not like the off-road Tremor or whatever. This is probably the nicest one. I guess there's the King Ranch. I think that might be a little nicer too. But it all looks really nice. I'm not mad at any of the styling. This one has gigantic 24-inch wheels, which is cool. Maybe not the best for off-roading. You know, you got a little bit bumpier of a ride. And the Continental recommended tire, if you got one of these Expeditions with slightly smaller size wheels, it would be the Terrain Contact HT. And from the side, really nice silhouette, really nice look. It's just like a big, clean line right across there. I like how the glass is kind of like all connected. It all looks really awesome. It doesn't sit too high or awkward or anything. And staring at it every time that I came in from the lake, pretty nice look seeing it there. So I definitely really like the looks of it now the longer I look at it. I thought the whole curved headlight thing was a little awkward at first, but it's good. And if we move to the back, we have the tailgate kind of blacked out, which, you know, it took me a second to get used to, but I'm all right with it now. The taillights are cool. We got some lights there, and then they're very excited that it's a split fold. Looks really dusty up here. We've been doing a lot of driving through the gravelly roads. Right, we don't want to scratch the paint. And now we got a split fold. Let's pop that open. So you can still reach in super deep. You know, if there was the 3rd row up, which I do fit in fine, which I'm not using, I could pretty much reach to the back of that. And we can click here and drop that, which is super good. We've got this thing here, which adds like a little shelf, but did not use it at all. We saw it at the demo at the event, and that was pretty cool. In their photos, it's like if you're serving barbecue. I guess it makes sense if you're like using it to tailgate. And you got some storage underneath here. And you got some storage there if you're in the back seat and need to reach over, but the back seats are down, so it doesn't count. We can lower our seats here, raise them with these buttons too. I did have an issue though, where I was dropping the seat. It got stuck against the seat in front, and I had to give the car back. Apparently you have to hold this button for a minute to have the seats resets if the seats don't work. And that's something that they're going to over the air update. And then there's this button here for a light right here and here, which you can angle. And this is actually one of the nicest features that I did not realize I needed. You can see everything very clearly in the back here at night. And I guess the actual best part about this compared to a minivan, where I might have to have my wife sit in the very 3rd row and you know, pack around with a deeper floor in a minivan, you can overpack in this to the point where I brought my stroller that goes with the car seat, the Britax one, and I'm not needing to use it at all, and I don't even care. That's how much extra room we had in this. And I think overpacking is a luxury that you don't know you needed until you get the chance to overpack, and it's so nice. You don't need to play that like dad Tetris where you make everything fit perfectly. You just toss whatever in, and then you get to someone's house, you need to carry groceries, take a garbage run. It's no problem in this. All right, the next thing is the horsepower and torque. This is the 3.5 liter Ecoboost V6 High Output with the 10-speed auto. So this is putting out 440 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque, and it can tow up to 9,600 pounds, which makes me think, if I'm actually doing cottage runs, like living, not living up at a cottage, but going to the cottage with my family more or something, I probably want to bring boats. I see Jacob's doing power sports reviews, so I could probably get a boat too. This is probably much better for towing than just a minivan, right? A minivan, you probably throw a canoe on the roof and that's about it. But if I want to bring boats or stuff to cottage, this is probably a better choice for that. So with that, driving it, power has been absolutely smooth, transmission's good, acting just like I want it to. And then let's pop the hood and check if we've got a, Expedition on the front, nice. All right, there's our bad boy motor, and we got a dipstick right over there. And the TotalEnergies recommended oil for your Ford Expedition Platinum Max would be the Quartz 9000 Future FGC 5W30. Always follow your manufacturer's recommended guidelines. All right, let's move inside. Talk about some of the stuff that I actually absolutely hate about this car and makes me not want it at all. Makes me want to go back to 2021 to 2018 and buy one of those Expeditions off tsp.truecar.com. So this one has the updated interior, different screens and everything. Brace yourselves, it's pretty wacky. And then the one up to before this had a big vertical screens. Okay, we got, first thing we have is this weird steering wheel. And you don't have a gauge cluster in the middle. You look over it, and that's your gauge cluster / head-up display, which is kind of cool. And then you have this screen, which is your map, because this has built-in Google Maps. And that's all fine and good, but when you're connected to CarPlay, if I've got my Google Maps here, satellite, if I do directions for home, anyways, I got no internet up here because it's a cottage. If I do directions for home, this disappears. It'll go blank. But if I use Apple Maps, then the Apple Map shows up there or the Google Map shows there, but then you can't use satellite view in built-in car Google Maps, which is kind of annoying. I like having satellite view. But if you're into Apple Maps or built-in Google Maps, this is perfect, I guess. You have the screen up there. It's kind of like if it was in a gauge cluster, but they put it there instead. So here we have in Google Maps with satellite view, even though there's no data because I had to connect wirelessly, which means I can't connect to the Wi-Fi of the cottage. I have to only connect to the car. This only has wireless Apple CarPlay, which is a total and then we have nothing showing up there anymore, which is fine, but then it's like, why am I paying for this much screen if I'm never using it, right? Even worse in the Lincoln with the screen that goes all the way across, and then their infotainment is even lower, which makes it very sketchy to drive because you have to look. I hate all that stuff. Then also with this, we have our climate buried in the infotainment, which also sucks, but back here, we have hard button climate, which I would rather just have right there. Turns out if you run Google Maps and Waze at the same time in Apple CarPlay, you can have them both show up in your infotainment screen and in the gauge cluster screen. Fun workaround. Fun workaround. Are y'all ready for the next thing that I absolutely hate about this car? This part, not the end of the world if it ended right here. However, what does this button do? These buttons show up once you do this. I friggin' hate that stuff. I just want to see it there. And then if I want to adjust my steering wheel, I have to click here, and that's how I adjust it. And you can also adjust your pedals with that too. But here you'll see it says mirrors and steering wheel, but we actually have mirror buttons. So the Navigator doesn't have this. It is even worse. You have to adjust your mirrors through that while driving, which is super sketchy. Hate it. Here we have this for Blue Cruise. Blue Cruise is good on a road trip, right? You can drive hands-free all the way as far as you want to drive. As you can see here, we drove 554 kilometers at 13 liters per 100 kilometers. We've been driving or having the car running for about 9 hours. Blue Cruise doesn't work in this with my face and my eyes. Look at this right here. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. This kind of works, but then I can't see. So that's another thing I'd be paying for in this car that I can't use. It worked in the Navigator, it doesn't work in this Expedition no matter how I positioned the steering wheel and everything. So total zonk. And then on top of that, it's got a little notification here. Every 10 seconds, it's like, use Blue Cruise, use Blue Cruise, use Blue Cruise. Buddy, you don't work. I can't use you. So that sucks as well. You can turn it off in the infotainment, but then you only have like lane departure assist. You don't have like normal lane centering like Jacob has in his F-150 from 2019 or whatever, which is, I would say, better than this. The next thing, I guess the most important thing about the steering wheel is turning it is super awkward because you do like a hand over hand and then you'll grab it here with your other hand and you're like, what the heck is that? It is very hard to steer with this, and I hate the squircle in this application. Give me a Corvette, racetrack, sports car stuff, cool. This, complete, I hate everything about this. The whole thing here. So far, hate it all. Over-the-air updates, I hate that too. I don't want my car over-the-air updating with... Oh, heck yeah. Latest over-the-air update, love to see it. Updating. What's nice is that we actually have manual vents. The Navigator has vents through the climate control, which makes it even worse. And you know, their screen goes all the way across. And then another thing I guess we will take a look at. We have a hard button for your camera, which is nice, okay? Click that. You can see around. And then if we put it in reverse, but to go full left and right, you need to click here. And that gets rid of your 360. I don't want the sensor. I just want 360 and I want this to be wider. You can't do both. And then on top of that, it's pretty low res. Like honestly, like pretty bad. At night, it doesn't pick up as much detail, not nearly as much as like a BMW or like a high-end three-row SUV, even though this is over $100,000 would. So that kind of sucks too. So like kind of disappointed in that, to be brutally honest. And it's funny, okay, in this compartment here, I did find a little, yeah, I got DVDs here. I'll explain that in a minute. Sell sheet on the car. The Ford Digital Experience. Panoramic display. It comes with standard 24-inch expansive display. Stuff I hate. Personalized profiles. Where's my presets? To set a preset, you need to go home, click your profile, create a new profile, and then save your seats to that? Dude, that is insanity. That is the opposite of what I want. I gotta select my language, all this stuff. No friggin' thank you. Oh my God, all this I gotta agree to terms and stuff to save a preset. This is literally my nightmare. And I don't even know if I can get out of this right now. Let me just start it back up and that should solve it. Let me make sure. Oh God, software updated, no. See, like this is a car, man. I don't need this crap. Switch profile back to Ford Canada. And then my seats all go back, okay? Actually, no, it's switched to some previous profile and now I need to adjust it again. After profiles, then we have Google Play Store. Wow, I don't want Google Play Store. Okay, you can download games, cool. But the games are mostly like Asphalt Nitro 2. They're just racing games. You can plug in a controller, as you can see here. But you can't use the brake pedal. Like the brake pedal does nothing. It's like auto guiding for like 4-year-olds. So there's, I don't know, the games aren't like that fun. And then you can also use YouTube. Cool, but this isn't an electric car. I'm not gonna stop and charge. And you can't use it while driving, and there's no screens at the back like there would be on a Cybertruck. So there's really no point of this at all to me. I guess it's good for, like, you know, it's already in my electric cars. I might as well have it here.
Let's sing it. Da, da. Let's clap it. Da, da.
And there's like a road tripper app or some road travel. I'm not going to use an app on my car. SiriusXM, Alexa. I don't know, like, it's in here. Like, why? I don't need that stuff in here at all. Google Maps, Google Assistant, cool. You know, right now I don't have reception and the Google Maps is actually working, so that's kind of fun. I don't think Google Assistant works that well, so I don't want to use it. Steering wheel controls, this is not a highlight. This is a reason, this is a deal breaker. So don't brag about that either. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless only, that is also a deal breaker. And Ford connectivity. I don't want this to be a hotspot. I don't want apps. I don't want anything. I have all I need built into the key fob, and that's a remote start. That's all I need. So everything on this Ford digital experience is something that I don't want, which is kind of hilarious. More cool stuff that I did not use. I'll say, starting off with this side step, I did use that. That's cool. This thing here, you can slide this back, and then you've got room for storage down there, which I could not use because my wife is sitting here the whole time, which means I would crush her knees. And because of that, anytime I rolled up into the car, I would throw my fanny pack here, which didn't really fit because it's set up for cup holders. So I feel like they need a bigger compartment here, which are just bags and stuff like that, if you're not trying to move this back and forth every time. Here's another shot of all the seat room. Absolutely perfect. Then lots of room here. I have a bunch of DVDs and stuff down here. You may ask, why DVDs, Yuri? This is the new Ford Expedition. They added this cool thing in here so you can put devices of any size or kind. Well, I don't want my kid just watching trash on YouTube. You know, I'd rather them watch Magic School Bus or Bluey or something. So I strapped this to the headrest around this, canceling this all out so she could watch Bluey or Magic School Bus on the drive up here. So, and Little Mermaid, so it's not all just YouTube crap, because kids' YouTube is actually the worst. So this is useless. I would much rather have a built-in DVD player. I think kids should just suffer on road trips with like more boring stuff instead of super addictive garbage YouTube. And by the way, here's that controls for the climate, which I would love to have hard buttons up front instead. Cup holders were nice for my wife to use, and then my cup holders there. And we've got USB right here, which my kid didn't use because she doesn't have an iPhone because she's 4. Lots of storage here for your DVDs, for your Magic School Buses and stuff. And then you got your AC power here, which I used to power this up. And while on the road trip, my kid needed a diaper change. It was super hot outside, so I wasn't gonna change her in the back on that little platform thing. What I did, did I say her or him? I meant him. I folded this down, and then I was able to put my change mat right here while crouching right there where there's a ton of room, and change his diaper. So that was awesome as well. Tons of room in this. That's probably my favorite part. And these can slide forward and back a little bit. And then with the device thing here, you can also use this here to put a tablet, an iPad or whatever, but you know, we're a DVD player kind of thing. And then yeah, I had the dog up here because if the dog was in the back, kind of becomes a projectile like kids. Here I had him in the front with a seatbelt wrapped around, or his leash wrapped around to him. And then I put blankets everywhere so he didn't scratch this nice, beautiful interior. I do really like the interior. I like the sound system too. Like the materials and everything are nice. Also, we have touch to open and lock on this door and on this door, which is great since we're gonna have kids in here. Lots of room for snacks. No baby shades. Kind of disappointed in that. And when we lock, it'll lock nicely. Hold on, I can fix this. It'll lock nicely. It'll lock nicely. There we go. And then the first one will just be it closing and show the lights, and the second one will be a honk. So let's show that. You don't always have to have a honk, but it doesn't have a nice small electronic beep. Like I got my kid sleeping in the cottage right now. I'd rather have a beep boop. Oh, and yeah, I got the garage door opener and the visors. That 3, 2, 1 super pass. Shout out. Oh, and the sound system, B&O sound system, really good. Okay, we do have forward, back, up, down, and then forward, back, up, down, 3 lumbars and massage. So here we can see we got adjustment here, adjustment here, adjustment here, and a lot of massages. Now, unfortunately, I did get a taste of the Lincoln Navigator while I thought this was broken. The Navigator seats are much more comfortable, the adjustment's better, and the massage is better. This one feels like it's kind of pushing you out of your seat more than it's massaging you. And even with my bad back, I kept everything on 1 the whole time because I felt like the way it inflated didn't inflate nicely. But it is cool because you can control passenger and throw on like a passenger. Okay, no passengers detected. So I can't put on a massage. I guess another thing we can talk about, 3.1 liters per 100 kilometers. It's been chilling a while. It was in the 12s. That is really awesome for fuel economy. On the cottage roads and cracks and bumps and the roads being broken down, it drove very, very nicely. Very comfortable, not too bouncy or anything. And this doesn't have air suspension. Driver memory, I had to use restore a bunch of times because this is where you save your position for your account. That didn't work out the best. Did I figure out drive modes? I put it in 4 auto when I got on the gravelly roads and then 2 high for everything else. Drive modes here, we got normal, we got tow, we got eco, sport, slippery, and off-road. So in normal, everything did fine. And I do think they have the thing in this one where you don't need extra sway bars or something for towing. I don't really know much about towing, but apparently there's less things you have to do for towing heavy stuff with the Expedition, which is awesome, especially if you're cottaging up with 2 kids, a dog, a wife, a boat, and you want to overpack. All right, so overall, how do I feel about the Expedition as a road trip vehicle? The amount of space we have in the second row, absolutely fantastic. I think the biggest thing I learned was that it's probably better to put 3 people side by side than a minivan that'll have someone in the very back and then 2 kids in the front. I love the size. I love being able to overpack. The fuel economy was great. It was nice and comfortable. And then the things I don't like, the connectivity, the wireless CarPlay, the new screens up top and everything, the way the steering wheel works, the seat presets through an account. What else? Touch climate, your maps showing up at the top. There's a lot of things about this that are the new selling features that aren't for me, and because of that, I think I'm actually going to start looking at older 2021 Expeditions as well as minivans for my next big family car. And the price of this, I probably should get to that, it's about $117,000 Canadian. And the one we reviewed in 2020 was like $87,000. So that has climbed a lot in price. I get that this has gigantic wheels and a lot more tech, but again, that tech, that stuff is the stuff that I don't like, that I'm not going to use. So I think for someone like me who likes a more disconnected car, there's a lot of good features about this, but they also existed in the older models. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. Gonna go jump in the lake and enjoy the last few bits of being up north at a cottage before it's time to go back to the boring old city. And thanks Ford for hooking this up. It was a lot of fun to have a nice, comfortable drive and realize that 3 across is the ideal family position, not 2 in the middle and 1 in the back. While you've got a baby. 2 toddlers, 2 screens, 2 Magic School Bus. We're good. Maybe even 1 screen in the middle.